The richness of natural and cultural assets throughout the Alpine space is an important element of its heritage, as well as a resource which shall be both used sustainably and protected. Water resources and renewable energies are important economic factors that have to be wisely managed to safeguard sustainable development. During the 2007-2013 period, the Alpine Space Program co-financed 21 projects under Priority 3, which covered environment and risk prevention, thereby enhancing the cooperation in environmental protection issues. The projects also stimulated integrated approaches to conservation, planning and management of natural resources, and strategies to cope with the effects of climate change. The C3 Alps, capitalizing climate change knowledge for adaptation in the Alpine Space Project, has synthesized, transferred, and implemented in policy and practice results of previous Alpine Space projects on climate change adaptation.
Never before have temperatures been as high as in the past 50 years. Global temperatures have risen on the average by 0.74 degrees Celsius annually since the start of the 20th century. A further increase of 0.6 degrees is expected for the next 3 decades. Are the Alps at risk as a living space and economic area? If temperatures continue to rise in the coming 50 years, this will entail dramatic changes for the Alps. And not only for the environment and with respect to natural hazards, but also for the economy and society in general. Winters will become warmer and bring more rain. The risk of flooding and mudslides will rise. Periods of intense rain will become more frequent. The flood risk in valleys will increase steeply. The summer and autumn months will become warmer and drier. What are the consequences for the Alpine region? Extreme meteorological events such as heavy rains, heat waves and storms are becoming more frequent and hitting new records. In the past 50 years, temperatures in the Alpine region have risen much faster than on the global average. Since 1950, the snowfall limit has shifted upwards by more than 100 meters to higher altitudes. The glaciers in the Alps have lost around 50% of their ice mass in the past 100 years. Alone in the Swiss Alps, some 100 glaciers have disappeared since 1850. The transnational project CLISP, funded by the European Union, addresses this issue. CLISP stands for Climate Change Adaptation by Spatial Planning in the Alpine Space, and is the first, and above all, the first transnational project in the entire Alpine region that deals with the adjustment to climate change and spatial planning.
Hydropower plants are not a recent invention, but their implementation has changed in time. Big hydropower plants have been built many decades ago, often together with dams, causing important modifications to local environment. Recently, good locations for big plants are no longer available and smaller hydropower plants tend to be built. Side effects generated with the construction of hydropower plants are not immediately evident. To give an example, the effects of a wood fire are immediately recognized as a clear damage to the environment. On the other side, effects generated by implementation of hydropower need a closer look to be noticed. These are, namely, loss of biodiversity and environmental health, which might also cause a reduction of natural river self-depuration of pollutants. Artificial depuration processes would therefore be needed. Impacts on fish populations, riparian vegetation, and the other aquatic organisms. The reduction of the natural flow could damage the habitat of aquatic plants and animals. Impacts on landscape could also damage local tourism, not only for the site which can be damaged by hydropower plants and water withdrawal, but also for the same fruition of the river. Reduction of natural river discharge can also affect the recharge of ground aquifer water and limit the extraction of drinkable water. European energy directives require a renewable electricity enhance, but at the same time, the Water Framework Directive obliges member states to reach or maintain a water body's good ecological status. So, How could administrators balance the fulfillment of energy production and river protection requirements? In other words, how can administrators apply the Renewable Energy Directive and the Water Framework Directive at the same time? Our answer is a decision support system developed to merge on an unprejudiced base river ecosystems and hydropower requirements. The methodological core of our approach is the application of multi-criteria analysis, MCA. This is applied as a balance to evaluate conflicting river management alternatives defined by different criteria, detailed by indicators.
Faire la balance, ou plutôt en français, avoir une approche équilibrée dans la prise de décision concernant des aménagements hydroélectriques repose en fait sur un principe simple et ambitieux à la fois, celui tout d'abord de prendre en compte, de prendre en considération l'ensemble des enjeux et des intérêts locaux qui sont potentiellement impactés par cette prise de décision, puis dans un second temps d'évaluer comment chacun de ces enjeux, intérêts, ce qu'on appelle les critères, sont impactés par les différentes hypothèses d'aménagement.
The Green Alps project has helped shape the framework for a sustainable and efficient European nature and biodiversity conservation policy for the Alps. It relied on two key projects, eConnect, covering essential issues on how to best conserve alpine biodiversity, and Recharge Green, assessing how to deal with the huge demand for renewable energy-related impacts on nature.
Nello spazio alpino esiste la necessità di lavorare sul Water Energy Nexus, cioè il migliorare la gestione delle acque, la produzione idroelettrica e la qualità degli ecosistemi fluviali, in modo di poter applicare in maniera sostenibile sia la Water Framework Directive come la Renewable Energy Directive. Inoltre, esiste la necessità di approssimare le istituzioni pubbliche che lavorano sulla legislazione e sulla gestione delle risorse idriche con quelle scientifiche che hanno sviluppato gli strumenti molto valide e esperienze nel risolvere problemi tecnici relazionati con la gestione delle acque. Esistono diversi modi per poter far ciò, tra cui fare workshop, corsi di formazioni e disseminazione di prodotti, ma principalmente creando l'abitudine di poter lavorare assieme cercando di risolvere i problemi comuni, facendo tesoro delle esperienze maturate nelle diverse istituzioni dello spazio alpino.
The AIM Alpine Space and Movement Project has the objective of becoming a megaphone of the tools and good practices developed in alpine space projects in the field of renewable energy production, water resource management, and preservation of aquatic ecosystems. The panel discussions held in Austria, Slovenia, and France allowed the project partners to get direct information about needs and priorities of the Alpine region and to generate solutions to improve the water energy nexus. The AIM project has selected a number of tools which correspond to good practices developed in pilot areas. These are available on the website for public and private institutions facing similar problems all over the Alpine region.
Siamo riusciti a dare strumenti adeguati alle pubbliche amministrazioni per aumentare la produzione di energia idroelettrica e nello stesso tempo valutare gli effetti che l'idroelettrico ha nell'ambiente, nell'ecosistema fluviale. Qui alle mie spalle abbiamo un perfetto esempio di produzione idroelettrica integrata con l'ambiente, acqua chiara ed energia pulita.